This happened about 6 years ago. I lived in an end-unit townhouse next to some pine trees and other trees. Although I had curtains on the bathroom windows, when I was in a rush, I just didn't shut them. The shower wasn't in direct view, and I would usually put a towel around me once I was out. The window sits above the soaking tub. I suppose I was pretty exposed when getting in or out of the bath. There were no houses behind us, just woods and a road, but the road was way behind the tree line. Anyway, right before we moved, my neighbor knocked on our door and told my husband to come with him, that he had something to show us. In the pine tree area right behind my house, there was a folding chair and a wooden seat built into the tree. There were plenty of smoked cigarettes littering the ground and some empty water bottles. When you climb up into the seat, you get a perfect view into my bathroom window. My neighbor said he stumbled across it while picking up litter and debris. Crazy. So glad we moved. This happened during the weekend over a month ago. I feel like I need to share this eerie experience as it has been creeping me out for many weeks. I was walking from my parents' house to my apartment in the city centre, about 25 minutes walk at night around 10 p.m. I was on a big road with lights and moderate traffic, mostly cars but a few pedestrians too. As I was walking, I was aware of my surroundings, but not too alert, as the neighbourhood is a really quiet and peaceful area. I noticed this white van circling around the block several times now. In all my surprise, it suddenly pulled up beside me and parked 5 steps in front of me, occupying the no parking lane right next to the sidewalk. It was very strange and I got suspicious. Why would they come so close to me and just park there? It seemed like they were waiting for me to walk by their vehicle. I looked at the side mirror of the van and had a glimpse of what I saw was a form of a deformed human figure with deep warm green eyes and distinct wrinkly features. I suddenly panicked and quickly ran the opposite way in order to get as far away from the van as possible. I looked behind me to see if the van was still there, but it disappeared from my sight. I wasn't able to note their plate number to report the incident. Maybe I was just seeing things and was just a coincidence, but I don't think so. The whole thing seemed suspicious and it creeped me out. So I ended up running the whole way back home. Where I live, kidnappings are not that often, but the last couple of months there have been allegations of people in vans harassing girls and trying to lure them into their vehicles. I don't know if these allegations are true or whether these people had bad intentions, but better safe than sorry, I guess.
I think I was about 15 when this happened. My best friend Taylor and I were at the local park, which was around halfway point between our houses. We had spent the whole summer hanging out there and knew the area really well. We often hung out there around dusk and on a rare occasion after dark. Anyways, one night we were sitting on the swings in the playground until we heard a rustling sound over the bushes. However, we just shrugged it off as occasionally there would be someone out walking their dog late in the evening. So we didn't think much of it. We were facing the direction of the bushes and realized that whoever had crawled out from the bushes was no longer walking or moving at all. It was just standing there, facing us. We were really close on an emotional level, so more or less shared the same kind of wavelength of thoughts. Taylor and I made eye contact briefly with that "oh we're f***ed" look in our eyes before slowly getting up and beginning to walk away from whoever it was. As we got up off the swings, I could make out the silhouette of a large and impaired shadow. It was still standing totally motionless, but I knew that wouldn't last long. As Taylor and I began backing away, I whispered to her, "Okay, he's going to chase us. On 3, we start running and f***ing scream our heads off. I'm going to pull my knife out and have it ready if he grabs one of us, okay?" She nodded and we began to speed walk. By this time, my suspicion has been confirmed. I can hear this man's heavy footsteps behind us speeding up. Okay, I whispered again. 1, 2, 3. We both broke out into a full-blown sprint and just started screaming. Despite the screaming and running, I could still hear the man behind us and gaining on us. The high school! Run to the f***ing high school, I screamed, and Taylor followed my lead. I knew the place would be well lit and there were tons of houses lining the opposite side of the street. I figured the possibility of someone coming out of their house to check on us would possibly deter the creep who was chasing us, so it was worth the shot. By the time we reached to the high school, we were both shaking and out of breath. We stopped screaming and scanned the area all around us, not seeing the man anywhere. Freaked us the hell out. We decided to call Taylor's dad and have him come get us immediately. He was on his way anyway, but picked up speed and arrived in record time when we told him what happened. I have no idea where the creep disappeared to or at what point in the chase he gave up, but I'm glad we didn't have to find out what his intentions were. We never stayed at the park after dark again. This happened last year, 2018. A lot of spooky shit happened to me for some reason, and I had a very busy schedule that year, meaning that I had little to no time to date or meet any girls. Due to my busy schedule, I decided to make a Tinder account. I have never had any experience with such app or online dating, and I didn't actually plan on meeting up with a random girl to go on a blind date or anything. I just wanted to see what the fuss was about, and if it actually works.
A few moments later.
So the app still being something new to me, I matched with this really pretty girl. She seemed short, light-skinned, and had a nice smile. Her account wasn't a catfish or any sort of fake profile. It seemed genuine and legit. Anyways, I know that I didn't actually want to hit off with any girl in this manner.
2,000 years later.
But she was very hot, so I slid into her DM with a simple hey. A couple of hours went by and we got each other's Snapchat and number. We exchanged photos, so with that said, there's no way that her Tinder account was a fake. I felt better knowing that for some reason she said that she lived in a city that was about 15-20 miles north of. I had nothing planned the next day and neither did she, so we decided to meet up at her place the next day to mess around. The next day came by and we planned to meet up at around 10:30 PM. The neighbouring city where she's from was about a 30-40 minutes drive from my place, so around 9 PM-ish. I decided to start driving over. As I'm driving over, I get a phone call from her telling me to instead go over at a later time, around the midnight. As I'm driving over, I get a phone call from her telling me to instead go over at a later time, around the midnight. I didn't mind since I have friends who lived in her city, so I paid them a visit whilst I waited for her. 12 AM rolled by and I started to drive to her place. My friend didn't know what I was up to. He just thought I popped in to visit them randomly. So this girl sends me her address, and at first, the address that she had sent me led me to this upper class suburban neighborhood. I reached the address and it was close to what I would describe as a white mansion. I called her to tell her that I was parked in her driveway, and I asked her to come outside so I could assure myself that I was at the right place. She said, "I don't see you. Are you sure you followed the directions?" Well, to avoid any more confusions, she just sent me her current location through iMessage. At first, I found it odd, but I followed the direction to the location anyway. So midnight passed by and I was on my way to her current location, which was actually kind of far from the address that she originally sent me. As I'm driving, the directions are telling me to drive off the path and into a dirt road surrounded by cornfields. This spooked me a little because I was now in the middle of nowhere. I was about 10 minutes away from any civilization. Red flags started to go off in my head, but I ignored them because there's no way that her account could have been a setup. I had seen her pictures on Snapchat and you can't Photoshop those as far as I'm aware. So after driving through a dark dirt road through the cornfield, the direction led me to a broken down old house. It looked uninhabitable. There were no cars outside or in the driveway. The only light I saw on was the porch light. I called this girl to tell her that I was outside. She replies with, "Okay, I'll be right out." On a side note, I'm pretty a big dude and I train every day. I'm not intimidated by others, but there are some situations where you're helpless and have no option but to evade the fear of your life. So, I'm waiting by my car and then I see this figure come out of the front door and it was dressed like a nun. Black veils, long dress, and she's also holding a voodoo doll in her left hand. I was pretty spooked, but I thought it was just a prank. I gave it a few seconds for the cameras to pop out, but the person just stood there. I slowly started to realize that this wasn't a prank because of a few seconds later, I saw another figure in a similar black outfit peeking out the door and bushes. Suddenly one of them started to make a run towards me with a machete. I don't even bother trying to fight back because I knew I was probably going to end up gutted or skinned alive by these psychos. I immediately jumped in the car and floored it out. I then hear the gunshot a few seconds later behind me. I'm in my car screaming, praying with tears in my eyes because I was hoping to drive away with my life. Her number then kept calling me as soon as I left. I blocked it and then another number started to call me and I blocked it as well. I ended up staying over at my friend's house that night. I explained everything that took place and he wanted to go and check it out together with our group of friends. But I was too terrified to even go back there. I called the police and they went to check it out, but the place was abandoned by the time they got there. They said that the address has been vacant for years and they simply made a report out of it. They were never found. The whole thing was a sick setup to begin with. The girl was planning on luring me so they could do God knows what to me. I deleted my Tinder account, but I somehow had the worst luck the first time I ever decided to use it. Don't ever meet a stranger somewhere that isn't public. Shit can always go sideways.